Hey kids, it's Mr. King again. I'm going to show you guys a really cool, simple drawing piece. So for this one, all you need is a piece of paper. I'm using a half sheet of computer paper. You can use a full sheet or anything you can find to draw on. And I'm going to use a permanent marker, but you could use anything that you can draw with. Pencil, pen, anything, really. So this is a pretty easy one to do. What I'm going to show you guys how to do, and if you will, I will actually probably add a little color with some highlighter in the end and maybe some colored pencil. But you really don't need color for this unless you want to. I'm going to give you a quick drawing guide on my awesome trick to drawing really cool roses and basic flowers. So if you've been wondering, this is the way to do it. Anyways, easiest way is simple. What you're going to start with is a spiral near the middle of your paper. And this time, instead of doing a spiral in the shape of a circle, we're going to do our spiral in the shape of an oval. So if you want a little help with that, I encourage you to always start in pencil because pencil lets you erase. And what you can do is really lightly draw an oval on your paper, a really squished one, basically a pancake, okay? So hopefully you can see that on camera nice and clear. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use that to start my spiral. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go from the outside of my pancake and I'm gonna draw my spiral. And remember, don't link it back up to the original part of the oval. Come in a little bit, and in, and there. There's the end of it. So I have this really, really thin spiral. It looks almost like a galaxy. I'm gonna go in with my eraser, and I'm going to erase that little bit of pencil I can see through that one spot. And now, this is kind of the weird part. Inside of my spiral, starting from the center, at the end of my little very end tail line, I'm going to draw a little line linking in with the rest of the spiral. I'm also going to, every time I get to the edge of my spiral on either side, I'm going to make a line going straight down, just in that little gap, kind of like compartmentalizing all the parts of my spiral. Okay? So hopefully you followed me on that. Really, we're just making little tiny lines here to close off those little ends of our spiral. Then, at the very end over here, I'm going to create a very large U. Let's go from one end of my spiral to the other. All right, now I think you can start to see that rose forming. It's already there. That was the hardest part you just did. So hey, if you made it this far, congratulations. If you need to redo it and try it again, don't sweat it. Making mistakes is part of art and it's what you should be doing. If you're not making mistakes, maybe you're not trying hard enough. Anyway. Now I'm going to start adding my extra petals on here. And the way I do that is really simple. From the bottom of my U, I'm just going to create these gently curving lines on either side. I'm going to make some of them relatively tall and some of them a little shorter. Usually I do the shorter ones on the outside edge. I'm just going to do 2 on either side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have these come over and I'm going to end this one right in the middle of my rose. Ah, the light. I'll be right back. I'm back. That's because my light is motion sensitive, so I wasn't moving enough. All right, I'm gonna have my other end of my rose stop right here. And I'm gonna have these ones come up just a little bit. And this one come right in there. And those are just those petals that have started to really open up on the rose, and they're starting to go away from kind of the center. Makes it look a little more realistic. If you want to add, you can actually put one of those seams between the petals on the front of your rose. Oh my gosh, how much does that look like a rose? It looks fantastic. You know, I'm just calling it for myself. Now I got to make the stem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right in that center area. I'm going to create a line. Now this doesn't have to be perfectly straight. You can have a little bend to it if you want to. Have a line coming down from the other side. And there's my stem. Really simple with that too. I can add some thorns on there if I want to make it look a little more realistic. You can also create some leaves if you want to. Now I could look up a rose leaf and try to make it really, really close to the real thing, but because I'm not too concerned about making it absolutely perfect, I'm just gonna draw a little almond shape with a stem, and then I'm gonna put a little seam down the middle of that. And there you have it, that is the rose. So if you wanna add a little color to it, I love the way highlighters look, you know that, but if you want to use Crayola pencils or markers or crayons or whatever you have at your disposal, go for it. The nice thing about a highlighter is you can go just right over everything. And then what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna add some cool effects, some shading with a colored pencil actually. And I'm gonna just knock your socks off, make it look really good. I'm not gonna worry about the stem right now because I just like the pop of color that I'm getting right on the top of my rose. If you want to put some green on the stem, do it with whatever you got at hand, go for it. If you don't want to, no big deal. All right, now we got our pink on there. Boom, throw that across the table. And I'm gonna grab my red colored pencil. I've got a deep red right here, and that's because down near the bottom of my petals, I'm gonna create a shadow effect by creating a darker red. Remember, mixing materials is a really awesome thing to do. This dark red, I'm gonna have it kind of seep across a little of my rose in the middle. You can see I made a little mistake right there, not a big deal. Cover that up later. Same thing, I'm gonna have that kind of fading from the other petals, so it looks like a deep red shadow. I gotta remember to put that on the inside of my rose too, because this part here inside the spiral would really be dark, be in the shadows. Gotta kind of imagine where the shadows would be on your three-dimensional rose. Do a little bit right here in the seam. I think you guys can kind of tell. And I think it looks markedly better. Let me get you, oh yeah. Whoop. There we go. And I'm actually gonna go a little further with this. So what I'm gonna do is put it back on the table, get that focused again, and I'm gonna go in. You can use anything you want. You could even use a number 2 pencil, but that comes out kind of gray. So I'm gonna create a shadow that I could use black, but I'm gonna find black a little boring. So, looking for a good one. Dark green would work, but let's go with this beautiful purple. And let's add some shadows with that. Went a little too dark to start with, that's okay. Kind of take that back a little bit. And let's get some shadowing done with our purple. My beautiful rose. So I'm liking it, looking pretty good. I could definitely do more with this and do better with it if I kind of took my time, but I'm kind of rushing through, so I apologize if this is not the best work you've ever seen me do. Okay, so there's my rose right now. Really liking how interesting the colors are there, because there's a couple different layered up. Okay, and then if you want to add more, remember that stem, right? So you could go use, if you have multiple greens, I like doing things like using a dark green for the thorns and maybe the leaf here. And then let's do that highlighter green, that very light green for the stem itself. I could always reverse that and do the other way around and use a highlighter for the leaves and the thorn. But yeah, I'm liking that. Now I'm actually wondering what the heck's going on in this big open white space. So that's a great opportunity, guys, to create something like an insect that you want to draw, or maybe just a background that's really cool. So maybe this is sitting, you know, out on like a beautiful sunny day. What have you, it's completely up to you what you want to add, but I'm gonna tell you art is never done until you call it done. So add as much as you possibly want, be as crazy as you want. Even if you just want this to be pattern and color, do it, okay? So whatever you can get your hands on, whatever you can make it. Art is absolutely what you make, it's anything you make. So enjoy. I'll have a couple more drawing tutorials up in just a little bit, and I'll also have some other cool project ideas. But I'll try to kind of keep it to stuff you can find around your house, and I will see you as soon as this whole, shut-in thing is done. All right, guys, stay cool. Bye.